Thanks for waiting and for not falling asleep. Let's see if I can change that a little bit. I'm Matt Bain. Nice to meet you guys. I am the channel manager for RIEDEL Communications. Just give you a quick little background on me, just so you have an idea of where I'm coming from. I started off as a radio broadcast engineer. That's my love. Kind of have the light side and the dark side of my career. So everything in the dark side is when I turned into sales. Everything in the white side is when I was in engineering. So that's kind of my background. And now I manage all of our channel partners at RIEDEL. So I manage our partners like DVG. Just to give you guys a little glance at RIEDEL, we're a German company. This gives you an idea of our footprint. We have over 1,000 employees. We're very large in Europe. Our headquarters in the US is in Santa Clarita, California, but we have 24 locations around the world. Most of our engineering is happening in Germany, and on the IP side, we have a large facility in Montreal. So that's where most of the R&D is happening. And as you can see, we have a lot of places that we have employees at, but we have over 200 engineers on staff, so we're a very engineering-heavy company. If you don't know, RIEDEL's named after Thomas Riedel. So Thomas Riedel is our founder. He's a very, very interesting guy, extremely fun to get to talk to, and this whole company came out of necessity. So Thomas used to do events, and he became a rental house, and then all of a sudden he had lots of needs from other people saying, hey, we need help with a comm system. And so that turned into him creating our first product, which was to bring in Motorola radios into a comm system. So that's how we started, is in comms. He's an investor. He just purchased the German Sail GP boat. So now we have a race team in Sail GP. We have a lot of other companies that RIEDEL has purchased over the last 3 years. So we're doing quite a few things. But today I'm going to focus on some comms, and my charge was to make Intercom exciting. So who knows if I'll be able to do that. But I think the most exciting thing about comms is what our customers do with it, how they attack their problems and their challenges. So today I really want to just focus on what our customers are using comms to do and how they're accomplishing what they need to do. So we'll look at some customer stories. We're going to talk about how the product goes into that. And then finally, collaborative design. You know, as we're here with DVG, I really want to hone in on why using somebody like DVG is so important to us and what that brings to the table. So this slide is kind of one of our backgrounds, but I think it's a great slide to really illustrate a lot of things that are happening with our products. So as you can see, pretty much any type of racing uses RIEDEL. Any type of live event, sporting, those are all big avenues for our products. And it really goes into a few things, not only the way our product is designed physically, but also the technology behind that. And so I wanted to show this video real quick. We'll see if the audio works. But so we're going to focus a little bit on our race car customers. And the reason why I want to do that is because when you think about racing, especially when we talk about Formula One or Sail GP, we're talking about elements, we're talking about elevation, altitude, speed, distance, all the really, really hard things to deal with when you're talking about wireless comms. So I think these customers really showcase kind of the power of our products and what you can start to do with them. So this first one that we're going to look at is for a Formula One team. It's now called Team RB. And the codec is unavailable, so we're not going to do that one. So we'll talk about Formula One. And the reason why I like to talk about Formula One is they do a ton of things with our products that not a lot of people think about doing. So if you look at how RIEDEL supports Formula One, there are 20 teams on the grid right now. Next year there's going to be 22, I believe. Each team has 60 personnel in their paddock. So across 20 teams, they have 60 personnel in each paddock, and they have up to 400 people at each team's factory that are listening in. So if you think about it, we have almost 500 people per team that are tuned into the data, into the communications, and into the video that's happening on the track. Beyond those teams, the FIA, which is the governing body, that runs the races. So we handle all of their teams' comms. So all of the teams all submit their comms and is monitored by the governing body. So not only do we provide the team communication, but we also provide that communication back to the governing body. And the FIA has over 2,000 radios at each event. So there is a lot of comms happening every single weekend at an F1 race. And then finally, we do race control. So beyond just comms, we're also doing the video and telemetry data. So we have video systems in the broadcast distribution space to their broadcast systems. And there's over 130 cameras on each track. So there's a lot of video, there's a lot of data. The telemetry data is insane that comes from those cars. So, you know, we have these great products, but I always tell people that the hard part isn't the technology, it's how we collaborate and how we attack challenges together. And that really comes into the collaborative design process. And that goes into not only our products, but also the solutions that we're providing. One of my favorite quotes about Formula One is, the perfect pit stop is something that you hear, not something that you see. And it's really interesting, if you watch a Formula One race, you should only hear two noises when they do a pit stop, and that's the front and the back in simultaneous coming off, and then the front and the back simultaneously going on. So it's really a choreographed dance, and I think it really exemplifies all of the projects that we do with our partners of making sure that people know what they're doing and what roles we're going to play in that process. To give you a really cool look, so the world record right now for a pit stop is changing 4 tires, doing a wipe of the mask and the shield of the driver, and doing any adjustments. 1.8 seconds is the current record. So it's incredible the amount of choreography and orchestration that goes into doing this quickly. It's held by Team McLaren, and Lando Norris was the driver. So yeah, I can't change a tire that quick. So I want to get into the collaborative design of our products themselves. If you don't know, RIEDEL has our Bolero comm system. It is an Emmy-winning system. And it really goes into the reason why we have the Emmy for that is a few reasons. Number one, the robustness of the design of the product. So if you see the Bolero here, you know, it's really designed for those applications that are difficult to deal with. So they get drops, they get wind, they get, you know, we're in Sail GP, they're getting seawater into these components. So having a robust, reliable product, number one, is quintessential for us. But number two, how we actually design where these buttons go. Every one of our buttons has really been put there with us sitting next to engineers. How do you use this product? And we really design these collaboratively with our users and with our dealers. So everything that you see about how this was designed, including really knowing our customer and putting a beer opener, a beer can opener on the back, we know our customers, right? All of the buttons are all assignable. So again, we want to be very flexible in the types of workflows that we can support. So almost everything on these is customizable. You'll see on our table out front, you can actually customize the top ring to make it a different color as well. But again, everything that's in here goes to making sure that this is a reliable product. Now, the Emmy itself really came about with COVID. So in Hollywood production, during COVID, there was a real big problem with comms and using headsets. Nobody wants to share headsets. So our Bluetooth capabilities in this is really one of the things that pushed us over the edge with Hollywood in general. Now producers can have 2 sets of AirPods or any Bluetooth headset and have their own, and it just kind of seamlessly integrates with the system. As I mentioned, we have IP65 weatherproof housing, big, especially when you're talking about being near water. Not only is it the belt pack, but also the antenna. So you'll see on our booth, if you head out there, that we have an active antenna. This is the base station or the antenna. It has quite a few really cool features on this. On the top left, you're going to see that we have an e-ink display. That's fantastic because it's always on. So it's always going to be displaying the IP address of that box, so you can easily get to it and easily identify what this is, you know, in a live environment. You'll also see that we have, on the bottom left, we have near field belt pack registration. So if you have, last minute, somebody needs to join with a new Bolero pack, all they need to do is go touch their pack to that antenna, and it will automatically be registered into that network. Not only can you do it from the antenna, but we can also do it belt pack to belt pack. So if we have that antenna up in the ceiling somewhere, you can have somebody else just tap your belt pack to it, or it can be done through our GUI. On the bottom right, you'll see that we have kind of the Visa mount plate. So you can put this in all different really cool places. And if you look at this picture, this is actually our warehouse. So we have one mounted on the wall there. And if you can see all those cases, this is where we actually put together all of the gear for Formula One. So right before a race, this whole facility will be just jam-packed of gear that's going out to a race. Beyond just the physical housing and the product itself, really the technology that's inside, it really differentiates RIEDEL. And this is probably the biggest one. It's called ADR, Advanced Decked Receiver. Basically, what our engineers have been able to do is figure out multipath reflections. So the biggest challenge for decked is dealing with reflections. Normally, receivers can't detect if they're receiving a reflection or they're receiving the original signal. Our ADR technology allows us to do that. So we can filter out any of the reflections. This is huge when we're in larger stadium builds. We always say that one of the worst wireless places in the country is where the Indianapolis Colts play. It's just a giant steel building with steel rafters everywhere. And it makes it very challenging to do any wireless in that building. They use our solution because we can filter out those reflections. So again, we go into those applications where a lot of solutions just don't physically work. One of our newest features that we just put out with our Bolero system is individual radio power. What this means is that if I have a large system that has multiple antennas, I can adjust the power of those antennas individually. This allows me to go past what I would think of as the maximum for the decked spectrum. So inside of decked, there's 60 time slots that I can fill, which means that I could have, we say 50 belt packs inside of a deck space. Once I get past that, I need to add a new deck space. Without having individual radio power, that makes it very challenging, especially if I have one room that I need to have maybe 400 belt packs in. How do I start to do that? Because I need to have some separation between these antennas. So what we've done is create the ability to individually change the radio power for these, so I can really pack in multiple antennas into the same physical space. So we can get very, very large deck systems in a small room. The next thing that we added is belt pack priority. So again, this was a COVID thing where in productions, live production mainly, I need to ensure that somebody, normally the producer, has the ability to talk wherever they're at. They might be running around, they might be backstage, they might be in the green room, or they might be at front of house. So this belt pack priority means that I can set a number of belt packs to say wherever they're at, they're on the system. And we can designate people as low priority. So if there's limited slots, the person that's low priority is going to fall off, and the person that's high priority is going to come on. It's just a way that we can ensure that people don't lose connection. The next thing is that we started to look at how do we make the charger and the charging station part of this network, so we can start to get more information and really manage a larger system. So now that we've added this networked-based charger, we can start to get analytics back from our system and see what belt packs are being used, how much charge they have left on them, and really just have a much better view of my overall system. And this does work in both of our integrated and our standalone systems. And you'll hear us talk about integrated and standalone systems. What that really means is, do we have multiple antennas in here? If we have multiple antennas that all need to be maybe working together and at sometimes separately, we would have a networked or an integrated solution. Here we can take a look at how we're monitoring these chargers. So this is the view that you would get if you log in, and you can see we have battery chargers here on the side. You can name these. Really just a great way to make sure that you have all of the data at your fingertips so you know what's going on with all of your chargers. It's also a great way to know when things haven't been returned. Right? The biggest thing that we always hear is, hey, these belt packs are great, but sometimes people walk away with them. So it's a great way at the end of the night to know, hey, this belt pack's missing, we need to go find it, without having to wait a couple days and figuring that out. So the next kind of collaborative design piece that I want to talk about is smart panels. And smart panels are just that. It's a panel that's smart. So just like a smartphone, it does multiple things so we can run multiple applications on this panel. It started off as just being a comms panel, but really we do a lot more than that now. So just like the phone went to a smartphone by having apps, we do the same thing with the smart panel. We used to see like our intercoms panel look like on the left. Now we have a smart panel on the right. We now have 4 different versions of this. You'll see the top one out on our booth, but we also have a 1RU version, and then we also have an expansion panel that's at the bottom. That expansion panel, you'll see that it doesn't have the whole little bits on the right. That means it doesn't have the brains. So it's just kind of it's a display unit and a way for us to affect things. But basically why I would want to use that is now we have multiple applications. And if you could see here on this right-hand side, you'll see live, rehearse, control, and monitor. Those are different applications that can be running. So now I can take one of these applications and put them on the expansion panel. So I can be viewing 2 different applications simultaneously. But the big thing about these applications is that they're all running all the time. So what you select is just what you're viewing on the displays there. So this product is definitely one of our flagship products, and it's got a ton of really cool features, and I would encourage you guys to go to our booth because my favorite thing about them are these keys. So they're called hybrid lever keys. We developed them with, honestly, probably thousands of hours of sitting with customers and going through button designs. And I've seen we have these big wooden boards that has like 500 buttons on that we used to go sit in front of customers and say, play with them and which buttons do you like? So we started down that path, and then we realized that none of the buttons that were on the market really did what we wanted them to do, so we developed our own. So these hybrid lever keys, you can see it on the booth, they push up, push down, you can push them in, and then there's an embedded rotary knob in the middle. So it really gives you the ability to do a lot of control just right in one button. And that's a huge time saver for a lot of our customers. Like I mentioned, we have multiple applications that we can run on this. So it's very common where people were just using this for comms, but now, you know what? I'm sitting here, why don't I just use this for my, my switcher control or any of my, I can do audio monitoring from this. So I can monitor 2110 sources, and all of those displays then become audio displays, so I can start to monitor audio. Again, you'll just flip between the applications here on the right-hand side, and your license determines what applications you have. So you can start it off with just the control for your comms, and then you can add things later as you go. The idea that we're really doing inside of RIEDEL with all of our products is making them software defined. So we want to make sure that all of our products have a long lifespan of being able to add new functionality to them. And you're going to see that with a lot of our old products as well. We don't like to end-of-life products. We normally like to just have them do other things, give them other capabilities so that you're not wasting hardware. We have a ton of workflow capabilities, so whether you're used to an RTS system or a ClearComm system, if you have operators that are used to those workflows, we can basically do the same thing and we can switch between them. We have individually definable user groups, so all of those things are color-coded. Really, we try and give you as much information that's easily attainable at your eye level as possible so that you can make quick decisions. Most of the people that are using these are in pretty high stress environments, so we want to make things easy to use. As I said, you can quickly switch between these applications. One of the nice things, though, is that if you switch applications and you're all of a sudden monitoring something, you're not going to miss out on any calls. So we have notifications that will pop up, so if you aren't viewing your comms and somebody's calling you, it'll start to blink. So you'll know that a comms call is coming in for you. So we have all these really nice kind of tools that alert people to when something's happening. And really, that's all about just not missing an important call. But beyond just having these applications and having it nice to use, it's really about making more space. So we can condense what's needed in your control room into a much smaller footprint. There's the hybrid lever key. You'll also notice that they're also push. It's a touch screen, so we have short push, long push. We can do different things with the touch as well as with the rotary. We have different key banks, so if you're not just using applications, we can also switch between key banks. So if you have more than the key panel supports, you can just switch to the next key bank. And then we have stereo speakers. They sound actually fantastic, and if you saw on the last slide, I had the desktop panel that actually has a subwoofer on top. So it's a 2.1 surround system. It sounds amazing for what it is. Really high quality audio. The monitoring app, this is the newest thing that we've put out. It's actually, I take that back. We have another new one that came out after this, which is a time code app. So not only do we have this audio monitoring app, like I said, we can manage up to 256 sources coming in, but now we also have a time code app. So I can view time code, I can view multiple time codes, or I can set time for different locations, which is really helpful when you're doing remote-based productions where you're dealing with multiple sites. It's all configurable with the REST API. All of our stuff is very API driven, so if we want to connect with anything else, the support is there to do it. Everything that we do is NMOS supported, so NMOS ISO 4, 5, and 8. And then we're very strict on 2110 capabilities. So we very much follow the 2110 specification on everything that we do. And then we also do 2022-7 on pretty much all of our products now. So we have full redundancy available. All right. There's, I think, the best way to describe these buttons. So we can push up to mute or unmute. Again, that's how you want it set. Push down. We can push in on the volume. And then we can also change the volume with the rotary. So really, really functional piece of kit. This is the newest one that I mentioned. There's the 2.1 with the woofer on top. Oh, sorry. Just a smaller form factor, doesn't go into a rack, sits on a tabletop or a desktop. Really small footprint. As you can see, it's slightly smaller than a piece of paper. So as a footprint. One of the latest things that we put out is that smart panel that you just saw. I don't know why it's advancing. We now have it in a phone, so a virtual smart panel. This is really, I think, the sign of things to come for RIEDEL. This is our first step in what we're doing with all of our products, which is making them cloud ready and cloud native. So this virtual smart panel actually runs on a new system called Stage, which I'll talk about in a moment. But it gives you the ability to use that smart panel functionality, but directly from your phone. So if you have somebody that needs to be able to access this device, again, it can use Bluetooth, so you can use your headset on this as well, or you can connect a mic to your phone. But this is a fully functional panel directly on your phone. I'll give you a quick little topology of the app. It is set up so that if you know how to use our smart panel, you will know exactly how to use this. We tried to mirror it as much as possible. There's obviously some changes with the form factor change, but the workflow is identical. You can do some configuration of how you want this set up as far as labeling, colors, where things are, where the keys are, but it's very much directly like our smart panel. Now behind that smart panel lies our Artist 1024. So this is really the heart of the comm system. It is, something just happened to the projector. Interesting. And that's how I make comms exciting. Thank you. Yeah, it happens. So the good thing is we make comms, not projection. Yeah.
Is the after stage, you said it's a completely separate, so it's not linked to a KP that can be virtualized, it's a completely...
No, it does. It actually,
Oh, it does?
so it links to our artist system. So it takes a port on the artist system.
Okay.
As if it was a KP.
As
Okay.
yes,
So
exactly.
It's not like
So
there's-
each one would act as an individual?
You don't have to have a KP
Yes.
then virtualize.
Correct.
It's just another port.
Okay.
Correct.
Another port.
Yep.
Okay.
It's just like having another key panel. Yep. Interesting. Interesting. Everybody can crowd around my laptop and I can.
I'll do something, one thing, okay? It's not bad.
There's got to be some AV guys in this room.
Yeah. It overheated.